Welcome to the channel and happy Saturday, everybody. Hope everyone's having a wonderful start to the weekend. I have a quick mail day to share with you all. But before that, I'm going to be working on some additional videos coming up to do the 67 set again and a couple other videos that I plan to release for early October and maybe late September. But I want to just kind of give you an update real quickly on the Diamond Star set as we're kind of getting close to completing it, but also today's mail is going to also reflect what's going on there. Recently, I was able to acquire 2 additional cards that I needed for the 35 release, and they actually fill in a nice little spot in there. I'm going to show you where that is at the end of the video too and put those in. So that actually brings me down to just 7 more cards I need, which is pretty exciting. I was going through the list today as I was putting it together and updating my checklist. I'm pulling it up right now because I'm now down to Lefty Grove, which is card number 1 in the set. He's released across all 3 years. Mel Ott, who's card number 50. I believe he's released as well as the next couple are released in 35 and 36. Card number 60 is Red Ruffing. I think that's the same thing for him as well. Jimmy Fox, card number 64 is something I still need. Paul Wainer, 83, which is also released in 35, 36. And then I have a couple of exclusively 36 release cards, which are going to be Frank Crosetti and the number 89, Joe Strip. He's probably the less known player of all of these on here. He was a Brooklyn Dodger at the time this card was released. Hoping to maybe be able to acquire that fairly soon. It's taken a little time to see some options come up for purchase or bid. So there are some now and I'm looking into those. So that'd be really nice to update that soon. I think by the end of the year, we're really kind of looking at probably realistically 5 or less for the set, which really would put me on target to complete this in 2026, which will end up being about a 4-year process to kind of get the set completed. Again, I was working on other things along the way, but that's pretty exciting because I've made a ton of progress this year. Because I think I started the year just with about 54 or 55 cards. So now I'm all the way up to 89 unique images for the set, and I'm going just for the first 96 cards of the set, which are all going to be unique images. All right, so maybe we'll start there. And I have 1 modern card, which actually fits well into things I collect too. But let's start there, and I'll show you some images because these are pretty cool. These actually have some skylines on here. So we'll start with the first one, which takes us to Boston. This is a Red Sox card of, his first name is Fritz. It looks like it's Ostermuller, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He actually had a pretty lengthy career. At this time, this was 35 when it was released, and this was just coming off of a season where he won 10 games and lost 13. It's a fairly good WAR for his overall career, despite not reaching high achievements in any one season. He just kind of was someone that produced over a long period of time. Pitched through the WAR years, actually wrapped up his career in 48, and it has actually a 1949 Bowman card too. So it's definitely a less expensive option. What I like about this is a couple reasons. The image itself is pretty neat with his arm extended. I guess that's kind of giving you the impression that he just finished his delivery. You can see someone that's probably over at first base with the way this is juxtaposed in here. But you could also, his name down here is in a really nice spot. Whereas some of those, sometimes the name is over their uniforms or it's dark in the background, so it's kind of hard to read it. I think this is a pretty well-designed card in general, but what really makes this card pop is not only that it's horizontal, but is the building in the background. And I did a little research when I bought it, waiting for it to arrive, and I'm pretty sure it's the John McCormick Post Office and Courthouse building, which looks like it actually first opened in 31 and was completed in its entirety in 33. So that would be about the right time. It's an Art Deco building around the same time that it would have been, this card was produced right around the same time it would have been built. Probably would have been kind of a big feature within Boston itself, being a relatively new building at that point. And it was sort of a mixed office space, as you can kind of see. It was both courthouse, federal building, and also post office. So that really kind of is my favorite feature of this card. But also, given that it is horizontal, this is the last horizontal card I needed. If I was to continue on and get the cards that are 97 and above, there is one more, and it's the repeat of Al Lopez. But as I mentioned, I already have that image. So we're going to put Fritz over here, which is card number 73. Get him in the image there. Here's a non-horizontal card, but it's the last card I needed from the St. Louis Browns. And it's another one that has one of those city images on there. Irving Burns, pretty good player within his own right, first sacker for the Browns in this image. Played a pretty long time in his career as well. This one I've been eyeballing for some time. Probably missed out at times. Maybe it was slightly cheaper, but I was also targeting other cards at that point, so that's totally fine. The building in the background, I think, is actually the Continental Life building in St. Louis, which, if I'm not mistaken, that also was built right around this same time. It was completed in 1930, it looks like. So that would have definitely been there with the time these cards were produced. And that's probably what they wanted to be able to try and capture for that. So these are two really nice pickups for my set. They're really nice copies of each. The final card I got was a modern one. Somebody had a bunch of cards, graded cards of this player, specifically graded gold cards of this player, up for auction all at once, and it's none other than the captain, Derek Jeter. This is the only one I was able to get. I think some people, I didn't put a huge bid in there, thinking I might be able to kind of get a couple of them, considering they're PSA 8s. But some of them went a little bit more than I anticipated. This is the only one that I ended up getting, which is from 2009, which is pretty cool. That's the year they actually won the World Series. So we got Joe Girardi pictured on there with them, which is a player I actually met when I was a kid, which is pretty cool, but manager at this time. That's his first and only World Series with the Yankees. And Derek Jeter, which would be his last World Series with the Yankees. So pretty nice in there. So that's going to go into my cabinet. That is all I got for you for today, and I will be back soon. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. Before I go, I am going to show you where I'm putting in the Irving Burns and also the Fritz Ostermuller. I'm going to show you where they go, so I'll do a little clip here, and I'll get a chance to show that where they go. All right, I'm trying to shoot this way where you don't see my reflection, but these cards actually were split apart by Tony Lazzeri, which is a card I picked up at the National not too long ago, just 2 months ago. So pretty cool. So this actually completes the first row of my second cabinet. Of the 7 that I still need in the set, 6 of them still go in this cabinet. But this goes a long way to starting to fill this thing out in its entirety. I'm pretty excited to see how it kind of comes together. And I'll continue to share these with you as I acquire them and get closer to complete the set. There you go. There's the resting place, the final resting place, at least in my collection, for Irving Burns and Fritz Ostermuller with Tony Lazzeri of the New York Yankees.